Hey everybody, this is Joseph Brooks. We're here at Red Velvet Studios here in Los Angeles, California. My guest today is Randy Marx.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing great.
Thank you for having me.
We're just going to be talking about, the latest music that he's been working on. He's an artist. He's a producer. Let's get into it. So you have been working, I know about Street Fighter, and I know you've been getting into the sync world and stuff like that. And you just had a new song or an EP, right?
Yes. Yeah, we did a collaboration with Sonic Beat Records and Universal Publishing Music Group. It's a collaboration effort with my buddy Jin Woo and Freddie Mota, engineer and producers. We made a 6-track EP specifically for sports TV, and I feel really good about it. I was able to do my thing on it and diversify the project. Every song does not sound alike. It's a really good project in general. Yeah,
it's really cool. When it comes to sync and stuff like that, I guess it depends on if there's a rapper and they have a beat and they were like, they wanted to get it for sync, like which license they should have or that kind of thing.
That's a good question, actually, man. I actually found myself in that situation a handful of times. What I recommend to always do is try to get an agreement with the producer or try to get something more original or made custom for you with the thought in mind, like, hey, our goal is to get this for a sync placement. When you're out there, like on BeatStars or SoundClick or other websites like that, when you're just leasing records or beats, it's a bit tricky because those licenses, you're right, they don't cover certain amounts of plays or usages. You have to read the fine print. It's really unfortunate too that a lot of these composers on these websites, they just use the same recycled, I'm going to steal his template. And I'm just going to put it on my page, but they don't really know what's going on. It's unfortunate too that a lot of these artists and composers that there's a huge actually disconnect between not only for sync, for usage. For example, if I go lease a beat, I might not even find out till I release the project that the song was used by maybe 10 other artists.
That's something you have to look out for when you're looking for beats.
You could also potentially see if the composer producer
used
a splice sample or something, it might pop up from a whole different record, from a whole different beat. For the most part, to be safe, you want to make sure that you try to get your own, like I said, original beats, original content, where you make the beats yourself. Don't rely on a sample because it sounds dope. I mean, there's a million samples out there that are super dope on Splice. I used to love Splice. However, it's going to mess you up in the long run with your business. It really might block you from getting that sync placement. It might turn that music supervisor off from working with you. Like, oh, I don't want to work with this artist because he just gives me samples. I can't clear them. They're not going to wait for you to clear or remake a beat. They're going to be like, next. Who's next? Who has the better beat? Or even if the beat was the greatest beat, who has the next opportunity that I could clear?
You want to make it easy for them.
A lot of artists and composers are unfortunately ignorant to the fact of their business because they see a cheap price point. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay $20 for a beat. I can put out a record. Great mindset, but not proper business. Unfortunately, where the producer did sample something, they didn't clear it, for example. And then the artist is screwed. Or the producer is screwed or later on or something. I mean, not to discourage people from using these platforms like BeatStars and SoundClick because they're great, really great resources, especially if you don't have that proper connection. Just do your homework and, maybe talk to the producer ahead of time. Maybe try to get something customized, or maybe what I would do is if I heard something, I might take it to my homie, my producer, and be like, hey, I don't want to copy this, but I want this feel.
Make something new.
Make something custom with the same BPM, maybe the same drum pattern, but let's switch it up. I don't want to steal anybody's content. I just want to have the feel for me. I want to customize it for my sound. I'm vibing with this. Maybe this producer did lease it to like 300 or 400 artists. I would never know.
Exactly.
It's tough because there's not enough education out there for artists to know better. It's cheap. It's straight to the point. You're taking that chance. You're gambling with your career. You're gambling with your opportunities. The music supervisor asks you to track the record out. And then they have, more sophisticated technology, AI and such. They're going to be able to do their version of Shazam or whatever the case is because there's something called metadata that's already embedded inside the samples or inside the records. The sound might come up. Oh, this was from Splice, or this was from this website.
Splice in particular, that's a really interesting one, because people say, oh, these are royalty free, but it's royalty free until somebody uses it. Then somebody uses it, and then it becomes like a thing.
If you have an active subscription, you're technically covered. You're okay. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to have a record out that could interfere with my promotion or my record when another artist is popping up, or a popular artist that used the record is popping up and I'm not getting the recognition. You know, you're paying cheap, but you're robbing yourself in the long run. You're really gambling.
If you're thinking long-term with your music, you're thinking, what's the biggest opportunities I can get my music going for?
Yeah.
Then having a level of exclusivity to the music, like, it's just going to help you that much more. I mean, otherwise it's kind of more like a mixtape kind of situation, I guess.
Possibly. I mean, even exclusive deals on BeatStars and SoundClicks, you just don't know the history behind the record.
You'd have to be the first one to get it or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Because there's been many times when I'll pay for exclusives. For example, I'll ask the composer, hey, how many artists did you lease this to? He'd be like, oh, just 5. I don't really know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's other times where I felt a little foolish going forward, not knowing any better.
You can get away with like percussion stuff, I think. Chop it up and remix it. You could probably do,
disguise it. That's what's always recommended, to disguise it. Or I've seen other real musicians, they'll take the splice and they'll actually just play it themselves.
Yeah.
And it comes out sometimes even better. You know, but at the same time, you are potentially maybe risking some licensing issues from copying. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an attorney.
Knowing the business side, knowing because there's music lawyers specifically for music. So Randy, what inspired you to start making music and made you want to be an artist?
So it's a funny story. Take it back to middle school. I don't know what came over me. I used to always want to just write poetry and rhymes. Partially because it's always about a girl, right? There was this girl that I had a crush on in my grade, Bone Thugs fan. I remember at the time just figuring it out. I don't even know how, dude, but getting a basic cheap computer mic, figuring out Adobe Audition at the time, and making an audio recording over a whole 3 or 4 minute Bone Thugs record with my poetry, being off beat and everything.
Yeah.
Just not knowing what I was doing. But as middle school and high school progressed, I started to, dig deeper into it, mess with it a little bit more. I'm not saying my audio recordings were the greatest, but a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
A lot of feedback, positive, negative. I just kind of like gravitated to what worked. Females would be like, hey, I like your voice right here. I like the way it sounds. Use a deep voice, whatever the case is. Or I wasn't brought up into a music environment. However, my family, on my father's side, my grandmother, her family, a lot of history there in the music.
Oh, okay, cool.
Philharmonic orchestra, real musician, players, singers.
Stuff, yeah.
So it's in my blood.
Yeah.
I just never took on an instrument. My voice is my instrument. Going back to your question, because I feel like I'm a little off subject.
Okay.
What inspired me really to do music was just developing a passion for it. So I know where it comes from. It's my blood. To be honest with you, I never liked my voice. But as time progressed and my voice developed, a lot of people started giving me a lot of positive feedback. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to run with it.
Yeah. You put in the work. You put in the practice, Yeah,
now it's showing the success.
You built that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's called a signature voice,
Yeah. Finding your voice is like really important, It can take a while to get there, and maybe you got to try a bunch of different stuff. But
absolutely,
if you never really try, or you don't lock into picking yourself back up again and trying again, then you're never gonna get there if you don't try.
Yeah, man, it's unfortunate. Some artists never find their signature. I mean, sure, a lot of people could relate to it. A lot of people come into the game sounding like their favorite artists. Trying to imitate, trying to rap like them. Great start. Just like when producers come in, they sample a lot. They tend to, lean to what's comfortable.
Yep.
But your goal should be to develop your own style eventually, not to sound like a knockoff Timu version of Rick Ross.
Exactly.
And I also work in a lot of artist development. What I would consistently tell a lot of artists and advise them is like, hey, when you think of some of these popular artists such as Ludacris, Rick Ross, maybe 50 Cent, E40, like what's the first thing that you think about when you hear them? You know that's them.
Yeah.
You can tell that's their signature voice, thing that they do with their voice, the uhs or the whatever,
Yeah.
you know, the ad-libs. That's the goal right there. That's where you would like to be at. It's hard, dude, to develop your style, your voice. It's a complicated thing. Some people may never get it. Some people, like myself, it took about, I say maybe 10 years or so to really like dig in and get my style and my voice the way I want it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm comfortable with it. And I'm still always progressing and always trying to figure out ways to make my voice sound better, to even make some of the notes sound better.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a forever process. Too much obsession on the on trying to imitate what's already out. Producers, artists knowing what they're doing, songwriters knowing what they're doing, seasoned results already. You know, they've already had these long track records of results.
Working with I would say like an experienced music producer or a seasoned music producer, they're gonna know that depth of music where if you're working on something, you're like, that sounds like that record for the 80s or from the 70s or from the 90s because they know music like that, you know?
That's true.
But
That's very true.
But if you don't if you don't learn about older music, then you start doing something that's like, bro, that's, you copying Michael Jackson, you know? It's like.
The funny thing is, a lot of these kids don't even know any better. In my opinion, a lot of stuff repeats itself. And there's no problem with that. I think that's the base of music. I mean, it's art in general that it doesn't matter how it sounds. It really matters how it makes you feel.
Yeah. Well, it's 100%.
To a sense. Yeah.
Your average listener, your average music fan isn't like the snare and this kick and that sub bass and this thing. Like we as producers, engineers, artists, we think about all this technical stuff.
Yes.
And then
people
just hear a song. They're not necessarily breaking down each element the way we are, you know? So
we look at it in the sense of like we're in the studio being very technical, like you said, being very nitpicky, and you can show it to a average consumer.
Yeah.
They might think that's the best thing in the world.
Yep.
Dude, how come you haven't released this yet? Well, the snare's off right here, and this quarter note's a little weird, and I got to change this tune, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. They don't want to hear that.
We're listening for what's wrong. They're listening for what's right. By the time you're done with the record, you've heard it so many times.
Yes.
Then you start to get sick of your own song.
Yes.
And to the audience, this is a brand new song. They never heard it before.
But we forget that.
Yeah.
As musicians, because it's so repetitive.
Yep.
It's like, I obsess over perfection in my music. I've heard it a million times. Mm-hmm. This is dope. How come you haven't put this out yet? And I'm like trying to
that
explain.
Old thing.
Like, it's not ready yet. Like, yes, it is. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah. That's a big, it's all mental. It's it's what holds a lot of people back.
Yes.
I'm like, some of the greatest songs ever written are probably just chilling on somebody's hard drive or they're still in somebody's head. Dude, you got to get it out. It's hard to judge your own work sometimes or whatever. Yeah. How do you know when it's good or when you know when it's done?
Great musicians will probably tell you when you know, you know.
Yeah. It's a feeling, huh? You know?
And I was that artist. I always would second guess my music and my work. Now I'm a little bit like, hey, that's done. Let's throw it out. It's just like the project we did with the Limitless EP. Very confident in everything we did. And fun fact on that, compared to prior years, this year is the year that I actually started freestyling all my lyrics.
Oh, yeah. Which is a great way to start writing. If you're not feeling inspired, just, play the beat, play the instrumental, and
press record.
Yeah, literally. It's not so much like we have to have it already all written up. It's already figured out. Taking it from in here and vocalizing that,
getting it out on the platform or so, in the audio form. The way I record my music now is more so in one bar at a time. So we're punching in, boom, 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 16 times on a record or so. I'm sorry, a verse. But those bars are coming 2 minutes in, 3 minutes in, 4 minutes, sometimes 30 seconds. Sometimes we try something and it might not work. Maybe the engineer will throw me a bar, whatever. But it's fun. I like building the work like that because it all builds up into a whole piece, a project or so. the song. And it's exciting for me because I'm literally seeing it being built brick by brick or word by word or lyric by lyric.
Yeah.
And it's cool because the people around you, they might doubt you. They were like, what is he doing? It doesn't sound great or whatever. Like, I can't see this vision.
Until it comes together.
I see it from the beginning. I see the whole vision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, even if we start on the chorus or the bridge first and then work our way backwards, sometimes I'll even work on the 16th bar of a verse.
Yeah.
And work backwards. Or I might even start a verse and be like, no, I don't really like that bar there. Let's move it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of me punching in bar for bar because I could just move around.
You got your Lego pieces or whatever,
It's fun, dude. It's a puzzle.
Yeah. You're making the pieces and then you can rearrange them however you like,
But that's just my technique. I don't know. I just find it very intriguing and very convenient for me to work like that. I'm proud of it now because I feel like I've somewhat mastered that craft of punching in. Because you'll be in the studio, you'll be in random studios with other people. Like, what is he doing? One bar at a time? Are you a rookie?
Yeah.
But then when they hear my whole verse, they're like, oh, damn. Lyrics are coming to me. All these thoughts are coming. Oftentimes when we enter the song, I'm already thinking about the third verse, the bridge, the hook, how the song's going to sound all together. Let's try this, Thinking ahead. A lot of that, I think I credit to my grandfather when I was growing up, teaching me how to play chess.
Oh, yeah.
And just, you have to think ahead of your moves in chess. A lot of that is from that, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just something that was instilled in me, and I use it. I apply my techniques to music or to anything I'm doing creatively.
Yeah. Well, you're anticipating the beat, almost like the beat's your opponent who you're playing against. You're playing against the beat.
That's smart. Yeah, I like that, man.
Yeah, making the moves.
And we're also sometimes even making the beat in the studio at the same time.
Well, yeah,
from scratch. I mean, so it's cool. You're able to customize it. Hey, do the drop right here. Hey, switch it up right here. Do this effect.
What are you doing? I'm like, I'm making the beat. I'm making the music. They're like, from scratch? And I'm like, yeah, dude.
The old school way?
Yeah, I'm like, you never met a music producer who produces music? But at the same,
No,
I don't know. I just
sound click.
I know. I was like, am I old school for wanting to make the beats? Like I play instruments and stuff.
Nice.
I know music theory and stuff.
Nice.
So I'm like, I went to music school. I'm gonna make something.
Yes.
I mean, if you already have something, you bought it, or you worked with another producer, or
you get
whatever.
the track outs at that point.
Yeah.
So you could always customize it.
I want you to make everything, and it's from the start, from scratch.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna make it.
A lot of people get very offended or defensive.
Like, what you mean, bro?
Man, what do you mean? I only paid $19.99. I paid $59. I paid $60 for this beat. What are you talking about?
Some artists have their favorite producer who produces their beats.
Yeah.
And then they just want me to be their engineer. And that's cool. And then there's artists who don't have a music producer and they want to build with me direct and start from the bottom and start from scratch.
And then they find out like you're fired.
That's cool too.
They want to continue to work with you because you have dope stuff.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So I just think it's a different artist, different thing,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, hey, you want to do this country record?
Yeah.
Like somebody right now has got me mixing a country record.
That's what's up. We made 2 country records this year. I never had the anticipation to ever do a country record, just to try it, and they came out dope.
Yeah.
I actually want to make more country records now.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it stretches yourself creatively as a producer, puts you in a different lane.
Yeah.
And, you never know what's going to happen. So
for sync, it's very valuable because I'm becoming very versatile.
Mm.
And I like the challenge, man, because again, like I said earlier, you're always progressing. You're always able to learn something in music, just in general in life. If you're not progressing, if you're not learning, you're going to be very difficult to work with.
Being an easy person to work with is one of the biggest things for any artist or any producer, just in general in life. Like if you're easy to get along with, you're easy to be around with or to communicate with, then we're going to get along great. I'm going to want you back. We're going to want to work together again because it's a good vibe. You're building that good rapport.
Absolutely. Like any job will require, right? Works well with others. Check that box.
Yeah. That's a huge thing. If I'm mixing a record or mastering a record, usually I'm by myself,
Absolutely.
And then I send them the files back. Maybe we do a couple of revisions.
Right.
And then the project's done.
You have to be out there in these streets.
You hustling. Well, that's the whole thing. Even with things are only going to change so much unless you're doing that work on the internet, on social media.
And that's a job on its own.
Yeah.
I've been on TikTok lately. I got on it a few months ago. I was so anti, you know. Now I'm on it. I'm like, what the hell is this? But I'm learning about building community, building friends. So yeah, you have to have a balance of not only being out there, shaking hands, showing
in
faces,
person,
but
and
also,
then,
I guess, the DMs, the comments, the engagement. It's a full-time job.
Yeah. Building an online community is something that I've been really trying to press for, even with this content, through these videos that we're doing right now.
Or what if nobody watches my video?
Oh, I got you.
Nonetheless, I have to try.
Yeah. You know, being available, I think.
It just goes back to basics, man. Slow progress instead of no progress.
Yeah.
10 videos are no videos.
Yeah, no video. Exactly. We can't talk about the no videos.
You're either in the game or you're spectating.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear anything from the spectators who ain't putting in the work in the game.
Yeah, that's for real. Like if you're not showing up, you're not doing it.
I'm doing the work.
Yep.
I'm trying something. I am stepping out of my box of comfortability and becoming vulnerable. I'm trying something that may or may not work. I might fail.
Well, it's very comfortable to just consume. And, as a creative
Absolutely.
person, you got to keep creating something.
That's the other part of the work ethic. Not only putting in the work, but putting it out.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I mean, you could have, I know musicians, I know artists, I know producers who have hard drives full of hit records. Shit, I have hard drives full of hit records, and they're not even out yet. I need to start putting them out. But, I'm very grateful, blessed with the work that I've already had recent. That's actually allowing me like a setup to start releasing my content, because to be completely honest with you, if I was in that situation without these opportunities, I would still be that very indecisive artist, not wanting to put content out. Oh, it's not that good. I'm not that good.
It builds confidence too. The more you put it out.
These placements have definitely built up my confidence. I'm very thankful every day to God for these opportunities, because like I just mentioned, I would still be that artist.
Yeah.
And nobody would ever really know about me except for the homies.
Even going to school is an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your knowledge, in your personal growth.
Yeah.
And so, going to school costs money,
a lot.
Having somebody mentor you costs money. And so that's an investment you made to grow as an artist and as a creative, and now you're better for it.
Ultimately, it is. I mean, how bad do you want this career? How bad do you want this dream of yours? What are you willing to do? I'm not saying to compromise your belief system. I'm just saying, don't be so afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be so afraid to take that step. Don't be so afraid and cautious of failing. The more you fail, it is going to bring you down. But the more you fail, I'm hoping the more you'll learn from your failures, learn how to capitalize on them, and learn how to build up that confidence. This is a tough industry that we work in. And one thing that I would like to share is a lot of artists do not talk about it. Mental health is a huge thing for this industry.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate a lot of people abuse drugs and alcohol because they're so stressed or anxious, depressed. This career, this music career, this choice of whatever, does give me anxiety. It does give me overwhelming feelings, And then if I don't speak about them, if I don't communicate them, I will hold them in.
Yeah.
And that will inflict more self-doubt.
Yeah.
I wanted to note that because I think it's very important, something that's very unspoken of amongst artists and maybe actors or so.
Yeah, no, I feel that though, because sometimes I feel that way too. Like wanting a music career and working in music is a lot of work. Like, yes, is it fun? Is it creative? Yeah, but it's a lot of work, and sometimes it can take a lot on you mentally, and
it's exhausting.
Yeah,
it's mentally exhausting, it's spiritually, emotionally exhausting, but it's worth it.
Definitely. It's worth it to you. You believe in it. This is what you want. Then it's gratifying work. You don't mind doing work when it's work you love and you feel happy with the end result. You feel like it's
you
actually
got a passion for it.
Yeah.
When you're invested emotionally, you're hyper focused. It's very validating, man.
Yeah, validating.
Especially to open up an email or a text message. Hey, your song just got used here. You're making X amount of dollars congratulations.
Yeah.
That's very motivating, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That all starts with believing in yourself and even surrounding yourself with people who do believe in you, whether that's in an online community or that's in person, who you've got in your inner circle, who are the homies, who is part of your team, can help build you back up too. Cause sometimes I'll have a low day, but if I have somebody I can talk to, I can connect with, or a mentor or somebody who is helping to develop me, it's speaking into people's lives and connecting with them.
Speaking it to existence.
Yeah.
Like Nip said, everybody can't go.
Yeah.
Like, it's unfortunate.
Not everybody deserves your energy either.
Not everybody deserves your energy. Not everybody deserves the opportunity. Some people are there just for the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to realize too, some people are not either capable, able, or even willing to elevate to the next level. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate, but this is your path. You have to try to keep it clear. You have to, like you said, emotionally, you have to invest in yourself, but you also have to keep a clear head. You have to understand who's trying to drag you down, who might be giving you bad advice, misleading advice. Gatekeeping is a thing.
Oh, that's huge. Well, and sometimes some people can see you doing something they want to do and try and grab onto that and drag you back down,
or they'll
knock you down,
or inflict their negative energy.
Yep.
Because they have the doubt in themselves. It's a thing. It's a thing in life, not just in music. Mm-hmm. People want to see you do good, but they don't want to see you
better than them. Yep.
It's a thing. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate. There's a lot of haters out there.
You can do good, but as soon as I see you doing better than me, I got a problem with it.
You're going to get a lot more no's than yeses, for sure. You're going to get a lot of negative feedback, positive feedback. Unfortunately, you have to keep going and stay consistent.
Doing something creative, pursuing a music career, you have to be used to taking rejection and how you can handle that rejection like over and over and over and over again. And there's a lot of very, very talented people who can't handle that. And then those people don't make it. But the people who, they might not even be as talented or whatever, but if you have that tough skin and you're able to handle that rejection, you're going to make it because you're facing those obstacles in your way.
It's just because some of these kids are just very consistent with their content, with their music, with their face-to-face on live or whatever.
Yeah.
Consistency is key. You're absolutely correct. And then going back to what you said in the beginning, getting the rejection over and over again.
Yeah.
I know that's the definition of insanity right there.
I know. But you got to be a little crazy doing this.
No, you got to be real crazy. Yeah. They're commenting on something that I've done, that I succeeded on. Somebody else had faith in me for. They invested in me. They put me on. This is the definition of success. I'm forced to love it and accept it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, you can comment all you want, but at the end of the day, I'm here, and the results speak for themselves.
As I grow more mature, I do realize that I'm not for everybody. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, you got to be cool with it.
Yes, yep. I'm comfortable with that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and argue with negative. It's just not going to go anywhere.
Well, it's wasting your time. It's wasting your energy, Why should I expend all my energy on somebody who's negative, trying to correct them or change their mind or whatever? It's like, man, I'm going to keep on focusing on the people that love me for who I am and who vibe with me and who want to roll with me. And those are your people,
You got to keep those people very dear and close to you as reminders.
Yeah.
This is why I do it. This is the people I do it for. This is the positive reinforcement that I need.
You got to be educated and well-rounded on these different things. And, you might say, hey, I just want to sing or I just want to rap. But, the more you get deeper into the industry, or you're talking about contracts, you're talking about money on the table, or signing your name away, or, rights to different stuff, you got to know your stuff, or at least know somebody who knows their stuff who can help you.
Yes. Invest in that for sure. Become buddies with an entertainment attorney. Find a manager, find an agent, find somebody, even from a school, go to school.
Yeah.
But don't sleep on your business, especially music business.
Kenan Thompson, he was like, I was a child actor and I was acting for all these years on Nickelodeon, and my mom got some guy that, she thought was a good attorney, just a local guy, but he was stealing their money. So by the time he got out of the show, he didn't get no money from that. That's terrible. Because they were working with, a sketchy guy.
That's terrible. Well, Yeah. Speaking of going back to gatekeepers, there are gatekeepers, but there are also sharks, just like any business. It's messed up. I say it. I've been saying it a lot more lately. A gym is like, at this point, you know, we from the streets where we could get robbed, right? Any day at gunpoint, right? But in the industry, you can get robbed any day at pinpoint.
Pinpoint, yeah. Well, that's why, you know,
gangster.
Well, that's why when you find people that are quality people and they've got integrity, they handle their business, they're very upfront with you. You got to appreciate that.
If you're ignorant to the law and you break the law, the officer's not gonna not arrest you.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, yeah, well,
you should have known better.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Yeah,
it's just like business. Ignorance of business is like, hey, you can't blame anybody but yourself.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
no,
you know,
you played yourself.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. But the more you know, the more you watch content like this, the more you keep in tune with what's going on, you're going to know, you know, when those things come up, or at least you'll be a little bit better prepared.
And the more you practice it, the more you put music out, the more you do proper agreement splits, the more that you're doing it for a living, you're living in it, not just watching it.
Yeah.
That's where the practice comes into play.
It's sometimes like, oh, why do we got to talk about that? That's not happening right now. You're preparing yourself for when it does happen, if and when it does, you know, you prepare yourself for the opportunity that you don't have yet.
I mean, that's what agents and managers are for too.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be worried about the technicalities and the financials. It's like, hey, I want to go to work. I want to be creative. My manager's going to handle that for me.
Yeah.
There should be some accountability. There should be some kind of records that might prevent a lot of, let's say, fraud or just negative actions.
I try to be really transparent with artists that I'm working with, pretty upfront.
Yeah.
And so when you see that, that's a pro, not a con. You know, if somebody's not being upfront with you or they can't be transparent with you, then that's more of a red flag than them being upfront with you.
I mean, that's red flag. That shows ulterior motives.
Yeah. If
you can't sign this agreement with me, what are you hiding?
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we've got an agreement and I say, hey, this is the quote, this is the price, this is the percentage, this is our agreement, and you don't want to sign it, you don't want to read it, you don't want to listen, then it's like,
I mean, I get some people can be discouraged because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
Stay true to yourself. Stay true to your dream. Stay consistent. Keep your head up.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you coming by and doing this podcast here with me. What you think of Red Velvet?
I had a dope experience with Red Velvet Studios in LA. Host was dope. Great overall podcast experience. Great vibe. Great environment. Shout out to you, man.
Thank you. Yeah. If people want to find your music and connect with you some more, where can they find you?
They could go to randymarx.com. That's RandyMarx.com. Or any of the social medias. It's Randy Marx.
Boom.
Yes, sir.
That's the guy.
The Limitless EP is out now on all media platforms. Check it out. It's a collaboration with Sonic Beat Records, my boy Jin Woo, Freddie Mota, and yours truly. Thank you.
Yeah, it's super dope. He was showing me some of the beats from earlier, and it's really good stuff. So if you like hip-hop music, you like rap, you know, you just like overall good vibes.
Yeah.
He's got that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, this has been Joseph Brooks and Randy Marx hanging out here in Hollywood, in LA, in the Red Velvet Studio. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Yeah. Good shit, man. Yes, sir.